Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to This Week in Destiny. That's right, we skipped last week because there was nothing of importance. There is a lot to talk about this week because next week, ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves a Act 2 to go into, and whether you're excited or you're not excited, there is some changes coming to the game that you should probably know about because they're actually pretty important. So we're gonna skip a lot of the buzz stuff. I'm gonna be honest. Again, one of the things they revealed was, here it is on the screen, the artifact. They're boring. They're lame. I think they're bad. It is such a waste of time. And the fact that you can only have so many slots anyways, it's even more redundant. I'm not impressed. It is ass. The whole point of artifacts was that you're supposed to shake up and make things crazy. And it was okay because it was only once a season or episode or whatever. And we are going to go wild. And wow. Deal bonus damage to blind targets. Why does that sound like a generic perk on a gun at this point? Wow. Now, if you're saying 30%, 40% increase, now that's pretty wild, right? Heck, 50% more damage on a blind target. Let me go get some blind stuff. Let me start rocking arc. That's crazy. I doubt it's that crazy. Anyways, so they are doing some changes to supers. That's right. I'm going to summarize essentially how it used to be. It's on your screen. Essentially how it used to be is that there used to be different buckets, and then you would they essentially normalized how you get super. It used to be specifically based on damage and what you give, and it's supposed to mainly pass the generation, like orbs of power. Then we supported that by changing the cooldown tiers of various supers based on several factors, including potential number of enemies defeats, which meant a lot of roaming supers took longer, and the one-offs. And all the changes that they did essentially made it to where everyone just said, screw it, we're using one-off supers. Why put time and effort into anything besides just one-off supers? Because one-off supers lets you maximize damage, whereas dropping a well or popping a celestial golden gun or a tether or a nova bomb or a crash titan, because titans, man, you've been struggling in the super department you've been languishing. You're just now getting some options, and the two best options outside of your roaming super for strand that's pretty much it. Is just strand as your roaming. But yeah, I mean, I know right now this season, Glacial Titan is popping off, but once the artifact stuff disappears, we'll see how good that really is. But we are all going to see how all the supers are because they're changing them. In fact, starting next week, next Tuesday, we will be changing the damage-based recharge parameters for all roaming supers against PvE combatants only. So don't worry, PvP. You're going to be like, oh my God, Titans everywhere. They're going to be shoulder charging me. No. It's okay. It's okay. It's only PvE. What's crazy is they're increasing the amount of super energy gained when damaging combatants by roughly 3 times. They did give an example, and I'm just going to skip ahead. They say during a advanced nightfall. I wish they just come out and say grandmasters, because that's all. No one actually cares except for grandmasters. Maybe masters for those of you who don't do grandmasters, but for me, I only care about the numbers and grandmasters, which I imagine is slightly higher because of how much hit registration you get for supers, and you can really build into supers a little bit. They say from a one-off super you can get 3 to 5 Nova bombs, whereas Nova Warp you can get 6 to 8, which I'm gonna be honest, I still don't know if I would ever touch Nova Warp or Spectral Blades. There's supers that just absolutely are garbage. But maybe not. Maybe Nova Warp, maybe this is your time to shine. Well, we're going to find out. We'll find out. I still think that roaming supers should have massive damage, because usually you're not going to run up to a boss and just, Nova Warp a boss to make up the loss of damage that you could just do with a single target. No, I think if you're going to use it for ad clear, it should just absolutely destroy runes for what it provides. But, that's my thoughts. So the intent here is that you're more likely to have roaming super when you need it, or that panic activation, or to jump off an enemy spawn point. Cool. We respect the super choice is essential part of build crafting, and not every encounter or strike is a perfect fit for every roaming super. But we do think that the change entices a fire team to bring a roaming super when they are otherwise may not have. I don't know. We'll see. We're upping the damage roaming supers do against champions by 30 to 55%. Depending on the super. So I think that's good. That's a fair compromise. I mean, like I said, GMs, like I only care about grandmasters. So 50 up to 55%, like Nova Warp, maybe. This roughly brings all roaming supers to similar damage profiles against champions and will give them a distinct advantage in your next Grandmaster Nightfall over one-off. We'll see. We will see if that's true. Like sometimes it's just easier to pop a shield and then blow them away. We'll see. Arc Hunter. So these are the things that you should expect to change. Arc Staff, Golden Gun, except for Celestial, because they consider that a one-off. Can we just package two things? I understand that like Burning Maul, like Pyrogale is also excluded because of it's a one-off. But Burning Maul, you can spin around like a ballerina. You can slam multiple times. Whereas Golden Gun, you shoot 3 shots. And that's it, unless you use the Fanfire rapid shot, but you have to get rapid kills to activate it. Can we just agree that I think Golden Gun needs both forms merged together so that when you're doing damage aiming down sight or you're doing precision damage, you just do 3 shots? Whereas if you were using the Golden Gun in general and you get multiple kills, instead of increasing precision damage, you just get multiple shots off. Like you could package it as one super and then take Celestial Nighthawk the one-off and just make it a super itself. Just make it itself. Celestial Nighthawk, like, why do we need an exotic to buff the damage of a super if we're also trying to keep the identity of the 3-shot? Because they're buffing the 3-shot Golden Gun, so what's the point? Why are we trying to keep the exotic that buffs the super but also try to keep the identity of the 3-shotter? Because they even buff like it doing precision damage. Like it is like this weird conflict of interest. Like, oh, we want you to use just the super, but you also should use the exotic. But like it really should just. It's so confusing. Like again, it makes sense. Pyrogale has like the super itself is multiple slams and spins, and then you package it to just one massive firestorm slam, and that's dope. And then the cyclone becomes smart and tracks and stuff like that. Like that's dope. Celestial Knockout, you just shoot 3 shots. Like you're not doing anything really specific. You're just time. I don't know. I've never agreed with the concept of having like essentially 3 different Golden Guns. You got your Fanfire, you have your 3 shots, and then you have your 1 shot. And it just seems really weird. All right. Weird ran over. So here we are. We have Arc Staff, Spectral Blades, which is not getting buffed outside of maybe the generic buff. I think it needs target tuning. Silk Strike, Fist of Havoc, Burning Maul, Hammer of Soul, Sentinel Shield, Glacial Quake, Blade Fury, Storm Trance, Daybreak, Nova Warp, and Winter's Wrath. All right. So we're getting some changes to some exotics. They're like, hey, we know we got some exotics that suck ass, and I'm really disappointed that they're not talking about some other ones, but let's just jump into it. Point Contact Brace. We felt that the lightning strikes provided by Point Contact Cannon Brace are the main focal point of using an exotic, but they lack build crafting depth beyond being visually flashy. So in Act 2, we're putting more emphasis on them contributing to your overall gameplay loop instead of relying completely on Thunderclap defeats. Amplified Lightning Bolts now do 100% increased damage over from the 50%. Lightning Strikes defeats now also refund melee energy, so getting the strikes give you energy, but overall Thunderclap is going to get 10% less. So you really, it seems like they want you, instead of single target damage, to really benefit. They want you to hit a group of enemies, wipe them out, and you're going to get more overall because of the Lightning Strikes. We'll see. Titans out there, I'm not a Titan main, but it sounds good. Always sounded like an interesting exotic. Let me know in the comments down below. Raiden Flux, man, talk about an exotic that used to be the GOAT and then it just dropped off to oblivion. Used to be a hunter main. Used to be, I mean, I remember D2 rocking Rain Flux against, what was it? What boss? I keep trying to say Callus, but that's not true. No, not Callus. It was one of the raid layers. Oh my God. Was it, was it Spire Stars, Alu, or whatever hell his name is? Yeah, I used to go up there. Oh yeah. That's how you like nuked him. Raiden Flux. It is our goal that 2 Arc Staff exotics, Blanger Right and Raiden Flux, have distinct identities. I still think Arc Staff needs help. Rooted in its defense, and we want Raiden Flux to be offense. However, we felt it could benefit from a little more punch, especially in harder activities. It will essentially benefit increase by 20% per stack, up from 14. The maximum benefit is 70% increased damage, up from 50%. Okay. 70% increased damage might make it viable. Again, if you're taking on champions, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Polydorus Wraith Weavers, the exotic that I see no one using. At the start of the episode, Polydorus Weaver was updated along with other super damaging increased exotics to give a little more potency to Shadowbinder Super. Unfortunately, in this case, the change didn't land where we like it to, because no one's using it. So we're increasing the benefits of the shattering targets. Increased shatter damage from 150. Up to 150 from 100. Fixed an issue where enemies were inconsistently getting the boosted shatter damage when led to decreased overall damage. So the more it happened, the less it got damaged. Something like that. Okay, cool. Fixing Telesto. Oh, baby. That's why. And hoping for the best. Yeah, why are you touching Telesto? That's been like a curse. Let's just jump into it. Breach grenade launchers. Bungie admits we swung too hard. You caught us with our pants down. We didn't tell you we were doing this. Except speedrunners aren't stupid. And people who like, speed tech, we understand. We got caught with our pants down. You grilled us. We want people to still continue to play our game. And we understand that speedrunners is one of the biggest dedicated players in our player base. We really don't want to be idiots and run you off. So we're going to roll back some of the nerfs that we did to Mountaintop. Micro missile frame increase the velocity players can generate with a rocket jump. Yeah, how stupid. Felt unnecessarily strong. So we walk back some of the speed limit reduction. That's better than nothing. I mean, yeah, you idiots. Like, how are you going to sell and try to bring back people back by the, hey, Mountaintop, you can rocket jump. But by the way, we're going to nerf that. Like, Bungie is full of jackasses. Talk about trying to push people away. Like, it's just literally, all this is people who want to go fast. We're going to stop people from going fast. Jackasses. And they're being bold in PvE. They're buffing Telesto by 20%. They're also giving it it wasn't dealing appropriate damage in PvP. Like, who uses Telesto in PvP? But they're fixing that, but they're also buffing it 20% in PvE. I'm going to be honest. I think Telesto needs to be, like, I think if there is a fusion rifle that needs to work with overload, Telesto does it, because Telesto has overloaded the Bungie team with how much crap that it's broken. It would be on par of what it needs. Overloading the system. Telesto needs it. Come on now, Bungie. I would use it if it was overload, because it'd be kind of funny. PvP strike team. Now there's a lot of freaking crap. So if you just look at the chart, Bungie wants you to look at the chart. Are you looking at the chart? Bungie loves their charts. So what you see is Graviton Lance, Elsie's Rifle, Bygones, and Rose. These are things that are sticking out a lot. Guess which one of these things Bungie's going to nerf? Guess which one of these on the plot line Bungie is going to nerf? Bygones, or specifically the perk on Bygones. But I find it funny that there's a clear indicator of like, a lot of people are using something that is just sticking out like a freaking sore thumb. It's kind of crazy, huh? And you know what? That number is only going to get worse because everyone's going to get Rose. Wait a minute. What if this is all part of Bungie's plan? What if they intentionally plan on releasing Rose for everyone to use and play with, and they're going to nerf Rose? This is my foil cap, but like they're giving people like literally a 5 out of 5 god roll. I think they're going to nerf Rose. All right. Well, the meta has moved away from close range engagements. We believe the consolidation around these specific weapons is due to a large part in a combination of two things. The difficulty of engaging in the medium to close range combat windows with the current level of ability uptime stemming largely from our prismatic subclasses, the lack of competition among our medium long range primary outside of pulse rifles, which is what. So what they're saying is abilities are the problem, which I know a lot of you PvP mains have been out there saying, duh. Listen, I don't care either way, but I do know that it is comical that Bungie's like, yeah, you guys aren't using other guns because abilities, and you're like, where's your chart, Bungie? You look at your chart. This is what happens when abilities are used all the time. I think it's funny. I don't care, so don't like get mad at me for. I don't care, but I think it's funny. So they're going to nerf. What they plan to do is down below. By the way, the fact that they do plan, where is it? Bygones alone is egregiously out of hand thanks to the high ground perk, which they're going to tackle. We'll be continuing to keep an eye on other top performers. But the current thought is that these weapons are very close to the upper end of what we want primaries to be able to do in the current roles. We're more interested in bringing other options to meet them in hammering. They don't want to nerf. They're not nerfing these, which is fine. Chads, dads. This is the thing. If they satisfied people by nerfing these, people would immediately want this to be nerfed, and they know that the comp players would be pissed. So to make them both happy, we're just gonna nerf this little problem right here. This little cherry on top. It's still funny. So yeah, it's crazy to see, like, we got Reckless Oracle, Final Warning, Spare Rations, 40%. Who the hell's using Spare Rations? Braytech, the last word. Messenger, that makes sense. Thorn. Like, some of these choices are kind of like sus. Anyways, so they're gonna nerf Prismatic. Specifically, right now abilities have a 50% recharge penalty. Guess what? You're now gonna get a flat 30% if you're rocking Prismatic. Okay, I don't use Prismatic in PvP anyways, but thank you for making me feel better about my life choices. Storm's Edge, by the way, can I just say the Storm's Edge wasn't really that good for PvE. I think Bungie realizes this. Instead of trying to make Storm Edge viable in PvE, they're like, screw it, we're gonna nerf it more. So what they're gonna nerf is they're reducing the height of the damage pulse, so like the range that it does the little spin attack, from 5 to 3.7 meters. Reduce the damage resistance against players, so that's good. From 53 to 45, both on the cast and during the spin attack, and move from a tier 3 to tier 1 super cooldown, which says nothing about that being just for PvP. So in PvE, you're getting your height of damage nerfed, and you're getting your tier nerfed, like the recharge rate. So, and they said nothing about it only being for PvE. While we want to keep the power fantasy, oh wait, that's the wrong one. Yeah, so they say nothing about PvE. They're like, screw it. Armor, Knucklehead Radar, getting a nerf. You're now going to activate the perk. You have to do damage to the enemy. So essentially, it's God, why do I not remember the Titan exotic? I should know, because I have PTSD from Forsaken. God, at least I knew what exactly I was thinking about, but it's essentially the Titan exotic now. Target is marked for 3 seconds, down from 7. Bows, they realized that they nerfed bows too much, so in PvP, body shot by 10% to precision bows, except the Monarch, which is technically not a precision bow anymore. It's a lightweight. I think they want to specify this specifically for people who are about to have a heart attack, thinking that Lemonarch was about to be crazy. But can I just say that it got murdered in PvE? Like, no, I don't use it. It feels bad. It feels worse. Used to feel really good in Grandmasters. It feels like ass. Like I kind of like, part of me wants to have a vendetta against PvP players and say, I hope you have a large glaive shoved up your ass because of you. My baby is just garbage in PvE. But I've moved on to greater waters. I have moved on to other exotics that have caught my love and my affection, and that's Kvostov. Kvostov, oh, I will use it as much as possible, but I've been trying to force myself to play with other exotics. Hand cannons. They're instead of just straight nerfing things, they're buffing hand cannons because they think, hey guys, we think aggressive hand cannons should hang, so now they're going to do 3% more damage, which will allow precision hand cannons to 2 headshot 1 body. Except Igneous Hammer, they're like, no, we don't want you being meta. They're nerfing it by 3 in aim assist, stability, and handling, so it's going to be slightly worse. Slightly. It's not like you can't get Adept anyways, so like Adept will carry you. Better Devils is ass. So they're giving 3 stats to stability, handling, and aim assist, so you actually might touch it. Yesterday's question is ass. So they're fixing the problem that's making it ass, which is funny because they're like, guys, Head Seeker. That's why you need to use this in PvP. Head Seeker. Like, this is, they're desperate for you to like this gun, so much so that they're focusing on one specific perk to issue that, so that we can witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational hand cannon. Witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational hand cannon. So in order to really use this hand cannon, you just need a Head Seeker, because apparently the gun on its own is ass. Machine guns in PvP. Adaptives have always been good, and Bungie's like, hey, you're going to get less ammo from crates, but don't worry, everything else is going to get more, depending on like whether it's high impact or low impact. So here's your magazine sizes and how much you could expect. Okay, I still think people are still going to use adaptives because they're so incredibly easy to use. I still think high impacts are good too. I think they're just too slow. And then rapid fires are just, you might as well just use an SMG. Perks, high ground. Remember bygones? Well, they're nerfing it. So damage to a player with a primary weapon now only grants a single stack of the damage buff. That means in PvP, high ground will only do 1 stack. I don't know how much damage that does. Maybe like GG. Light GG. Just for your beautiful faces, I'm doing it live. Let's just choose. Is it? Surely it's one of the highlight weapons. I will be surprised if it's not one of the highlight weapons. It really isn't one of the highlight weapons, like the must-haves. There it is, bygones. I'm just going to see the perks. Let's see. NNZ or X. All right, damage increase at 1, 2, 3. So for PvP, 15%. So what the hell does? So what does 1 stack do then? Okay. So you gotta love this when it doesn't explain what the thing does. So at max it's 15%. Apparently you're not gonna do that. So I guess you're back to using kill clip, I guess, or I don't, or Head Seeker. I don't know. Someone in the comment section who's been using bygones, who's like, yeah, this thing's nasty. Let me know. Explosive payload. They realized that they done effed up, so they reverted the done effed up damage, or the changes from explosive payload when Revenant came out. So they finally fixed the problem of hand cannons being too crazy. So what they did is they reduced the splash damage from the perk of explosive payload when using a legendary hand cannon by 7% against players. Remember, they wanted to reduce flinch, because they're like, hey, we want you to build into flinch, but now we're just gonna get rid of flinch on snipers in PvE. Exotics, Telesto. Again, they're buffing Telesto. Correct issue where Telesto was doing less damage than in PvP. Ariana's Vow. Apparently there was a critical damage bug in PvP. Okay. Thorn Lumina. They increased the stability by 5. I noticed that there was a gap from legendaries, so they just gave you 5 stability. You're really putting a lot of effort into really making people want to play with these guns, Bungie. You're doing a heck of a job. Man, that 5 stability really popping. Man. Anyways, general from lobby balancing. I honestly don't care because I've not been playing a lot of lobbies. They're talking about their snake draft. Paired player system in 6 has resulted in improved performance compared to both the previous as well as compared to the lobby rank average in random systems. When we look at match outcomes, they're talking about compared to Echoes, the games hit the mercy scores threshold have decreased by 10%. Predict a winner before the match has also increased by 7.5%. As you can see, we've been making steady improvements, increasing our prediction accuracy, which is an indicator of matches becoming more even over time, reducing it from an average of 68.5 to 67%. Simultaneously, our percentages of total games with relatively even win predictions, neither team has more than 70% chance winning, is increasing up from 59% to 64%. In addition, the chance of one team having more than 90% chance of winning has decreased from 5.5% to less than 2%. Why does it, like, they say all this stuff, but then you play a game and then you have these dudes that just, like, they've got negative KDs. They're, like, running in circles. Like, what am I playing with? Like, I know my skill bracket isn't that, and I'm playing against sweaties, and I know I'm not, like, going against 2-point KDs. Like, those, sometimes I have, like, really good games where I get a 2-point KD. Like, I shred. Like, I have some good games, but I'm not out here, like, playing like Frostbolt or Astacross. I'm not out here shredding, you know. But then I get paired with like I'm doing a Make-A-Wish run in PvP, and I'm like, I'm good, I'm leaving. Like, I don't care. Like, I know they put penalties in this game, and I don't care. Like, ban me for 30 minutes, I'll go literally play anything else. You are helping me with my Stockholm syndrome. You're playing yourself, Bungie. Anyways, Trials, on their hand, which have used random lobby bouncing as their baseline, has only 33% of its games where neither team has more than a 70% chance of winning, with nearly an equivalent chance of 30% for one team to have greater than 90% chance of winning. And consequently, our pre-match win prediction are correct more than 80% of the time. While paired players still underperform pure average skill lobby balancing in terms of making teams as closely to evenly skilled as possible, we've seen significantly less instances of all the lowest skill players being stacked onto a team with the highest skill players outside of fire team composition and demand allocation. For now, this will be the system moving forward, and with our 6v6 quick play list, and we are ready to experiment with turning it on again in competitive, but we'll be quick to roll it back if it negatively impacts the experience. In Heresy, you will be drilling deeper into what goes into our determination of player skill on a macro level, and look forward to sharing that data with you. We're also looking to offer a way to view a proxy for player skill in game and start to peel back the opacity surrounding the system in a healthier manner. What they're also trying to say is, we're tired of hearing PvP players bitch, and we want to tell you to shut up, so we're going to show you all the information, even though we all doubt Bungie, and great, honestly so. I mean, PvP players, you've been shafted for so long. But this is Bungie's way of saying, yeah, we're going to show you all this information. Even though you are experiencing the game, our data tells us you're wrong. Mercy rules. So I'm just going to read the bomb. The increased mercy window has had the improvements of decreasing both the number of quitters and the number of matches going to time. So we're striving to keep those improvements. Cool, there you go. So whatever they changed the mercy rules, it's working apparently. They're keeping it. Until next time, Festival of the Lost. Do your Festival of the Lost. There's your last notice. It's Thursday. If you've gotten what you wanted, We got all these little cool art to see things. Neat. Awesome. I didn't even bother. Yay. Don't forget to give Bungie your money. This is your daily reminder. Give Bungie your money. They're really struggling. X dearest damage buff. This was buff. They didn't really mention it, but apparently it does 33% increased damage to direct impact on top of spawning more moths and getting increased ammo reserves. Wow, they're just gonna let it fly as it is. Yeah, I need to play with this and see if I can make like some kind of weird, like there's the hunter moth build. Like I kind of want to try it out for the funsies of it. Take it into a GM. Why not? And let's meme up, baby. Other issues. You can't blink during on. Bungie, can we just talk about how you can't blink an onslaught? How do you break these things? Gives the chest armor buff instead of the arms. What gives it? The Valor Disciple raid is missing the master option in Fireteam Finder. Hey guys, we want you to be able to use this. Psych. Players are able to pick up. Yeah, no one cares. Arcane has the wrong thing. Yes, it does. The Grenade Launcher, you can't swap perks. Okay, that's weird. If the player advances, so if you're trying to get the Icebreaker Callus, but you don't have the gun, and you complete the Triumph for the Callus, you will not be able to get the Callus. So don't go for the Callus before you have the gun. Weird. Some players are unable to craft tonics. Nice. Health is not regenerating in Vanguard Ops. Neat. Guard of Salvation has a bug Triumph. Guitar errors are occurring at elevated rate. Bungie's just rocking out, baby. Bungie's just rocking out. Yeet. All right, and that's it. That is your week in Destiny. There was a lot to go over. We had some good changes. I don't know how I feel about the roaming supers. I think some of the exotic changes, interesting. I think honestly, I think this is my favorite because I like rocket boosting, but also just the fact that it's one of those, the community was seething and we're just like, this was so nonsensical because it has no real reason to be nerfed other than Bungie just doesn't like you going fast. It's just comical. They're like, hey guys, we're bringing this feature because we know you're going to use it. We know that speedrunners love it and we know you're going to have fun, but we're nerfing it. That's all I got to say. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit that like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for more. As always, game over. Wait, game over? I said game out. Wait, I said something different this time. That felt dirty. Ugh, it's like game over. Is it over?